Imagine a life where you are a queen one day and a ghost the next. What was the secret fate of the women who vanished inside the heart of the Ottoman Empire? Behind the fortress walls of Istanbul's Topkapi Palace, where gold and marble concealed dark truths, a powerful system of control was established, not by the Sultan, but by silence. The Ottoman Imperial Harem, or the Harem-i-Humayun, was much more than a collection of beautiful women. It was a lethal political battleground. Here, royal consorts, mothers of princes, and favored concubines fought for influence in a silent war of whispers and shadows. But the moment their power or youthful appeal faded, a terrifying reality set in: lifelong isolation. Women who bore the Sultan's children or posed any future political risk could be swiftly condemned to the caves, the cage, a restricted section of the harem. They weren't guilty of any crime. Their guilt was simply related to a potential threat to the sitting Sultan. The mother of the deposed Sultan Mustafa, for example, spent many years sealed off from the world. Her rooms were monitored, her every action reported, and her voice effectively muted. She was not a prisoner of war, but of gilded, high-stakes paranoia. These women did not endure physical torture as we understand it, but a slower, more profound psychological dismantling. Days merged into one another. Letters were scrutinized. Their windows often faced blank walls. Their expensive silk gowns were worn for no audience but themselves. Many, including the celebrated consorts of Murad IV, were said to have died without ever feeling the sun on their face or seeing the Bosphorus again. Their histories are barely traceable, but their enforced silence reverberates through the palace's cold stone corridors. But who truly held the whip, enforcing this suffocating royal discipline? It wasn't always the Sultan himself. It was the shadowy figure who carried the authority of absolute terror, the chief black eunuch, known as the Kisler Agassi. Make sure to subscribe to uncover more forgotten histories. Let us know in the comments which city you're watching from. The Kisler Agassi was not just the warden of the harem. He was its unchallenged overlord of secrecy, rules, and punishment. These men, violently brought from East Africa via brutal slave networks, were castrated and raised from childhood to serve the court. Stripped of family ties and personal ambition, they were perfect, chilling instruments of imperial will. By the 17th century, the chief black eunuch often possessed more political clout than most top ministers, viziers. He dictated the education of the palace women, regulated access to the Sultan, and enforced obedience with terrifying efficiency. His command could destroy a favorite concubine or elevate a slave girl to the rank of Hasiki Sultan. When the strict order of the harem was broken, the Sultan rarely intervened. The eunuch was the restorer of command. Punishments were dealt out using braided cords or canes, the sharp sound of the lash echoing through the opulent marble halls, a constant, brutal reminder that under the pearls and perfume, discipline was non-negotiable. No screams were permitted to escape the harem's walls, only whispers. Court records describe the eunuch's methods as quiet and controlled, often punishing severely without ever raising their voices. They reported all failures directly to the Valide Sultan, the Sultan's mother, who could then order heavier penalties, banishment, or even death. It is an enduring irony that these eunuchs were themselves enslaved to the very brutal system of control they maintained, forbidden to leave the palace until they were dismissed or died. Is there a punishment that leaves no mark on the face, yet utterly shatters the will? In the most secluded chambers of the Ottoman harem, the answer was known and dreaded: bastinado, or the beating of the feet. Known in Ottoman Turkish as Falaka, this method was preferred precisely for its efficiency and discretion. A woman could be punished savagely without damaging the flawless appearance expected of a royal beauty. In the Harem-i-Humayun, where a woman's appearance was her primary value, and silence was the highest law, Falaka became the standard correction, carried out behind thick silk screens and massive wooden doors. Disobedient concubines or kalfa, mid-level female officials, could face the Falaka for minor infractions like rumor-mongering, failing to follow orders, or breaking the strict rules of movement and speech. The procedure was simple and cruel. The woman's ankles were secured, her feet lifted, and a palace official would strike the soles repeatedly with a wooden rod. The number of blows was determined by the perceived gravity of the offense and the arbitrary mood of those in authority. Ottoman records show that the Falaka punishment could cripple its victims, leaving them unable to walk for days or even weeks. Yet, it left no lasting visible damage, just temporary swelling, deep bruising, and absolute silence. This brutal ritual was typically carried out in the utility areas, the laundry rooms, back courtyards, or servants' quarters, spaces far from the Sultan's direct eye, yet fully under his chilling authority. The bastinado was more than just a physical penalty. It was a deeply psychological warning. It was a message tattooed not onto the skin, but branded into the victim's memory. Every tentative, trembling step taken afterward was a profound, bodily reminder that obedience was the only currency of life. What does mercy look like when wielded by an absolute ruler? In the ruthless Ottoman court, the most merciful death was wrapped in elegant silk and involved zero bloodshed. Execution by silk cord, known as bowstring strangulation, was the empire's standard, almost honorable method for eliminating nobility, concubines, and high-ranking officials without the spiritual stain of spilled royal blood. But inside the inner walls of the palace, this same method was used to instantly silence the harem's most politically dangerous women, those whose aspirations or power threatened the finely balanced hierarchy. When a consort or ambitious concubine faced condemnation, often following a hidden investigation or the quiet spread of accusations, there was no public disgrace or parade. A trusted eunuch, carrying the secret decree from the Sultan or the Valide Sultan, would execute the sentence quickly in the deepest part of the night. The corpse was then removed in total silence. Official records of these events were minimal, sometimes erased. The woman's name would vanish from the palace ledgers, her personal chamber would be rapidly reassigned, and her priceless jewelry redistributed. This method was perversely considered honorable, a brutal contradiction only the absolute court could manage. It was bloodless, efficient, and outwardly dignified, sparing the empire the embarrassment of a public scandal. But for the women trapped within the harem, it was a constant, terrifying reality check. No position was too high to guarantee survival. One of the most chilling historical examples involves the disappearance of rivals to the powerful Roxolana in the 16th century. While official documents never recorded a strangulation, numerous former favorites simply vanished as Roxolana's influence dramatically soared. The truth was unambiguous. Power shifted not through open debate, but through quiet, terminal decisions. The Ottoman harem was never merely a luxurious residential complex. It was a pressure cooker of ambition, fear, and profound silence, where a woman's greatest weapon was her beauty and her downfall was sealed by a whisper. Behind the magnificent veils and gilded bars, royal women lived and died by secret rules that few dared to utter. These hidden cruelties were not minor historical details. They were the essential instruments that forged and guided the destiny of one of the world's greatest empires. Centuries later, the unseen echoes linger. The sound of feet brutalized in quiet chambers, the memory of royal rivalries instantly ended without a cry, of great lives extinguished by a single, deadly whisper. The harem was a unique world where beauty was a potent, double-edged weapon, and survival was an uncompromising art of silence. Don't let the secrets end here. Smash that like button if you found this history fascinating, and let me know in the comments. If you could spend 1 hour with any historical figure from the harem, who would it be and why?